Recently we installed the FSI to TSI fuel pump lifter conversion kit from INA. Following you'll see some pictures of the actual kit itself, and then we'll break right into the video. My apologies for the poor focus and the fact that I had to use an iPhone for this. Low lighting didn't help the autofocus, but I think you can see everything well enough to make it useful.
Disconnect the mass airflow sensor.
Right.
Then we want to take off the intake.
Okay, so we're removing the intake.
Yeah, remove the intake.
Make room so we
loosen all
can
the
gain
clamps.
access to the fuel filter.
There we go. Intake comes off. Remove the battery cover. Remove the shield. Battery. The battery box. 310s out. And we fish it around the wires. Remove the vacuum generator. The notorious vacuum generator that likes to leak.
Which we just replaced.
Yeah.
So we
Unplugging the fuel pump, cam sensor, or the cam adjuster sensor, solenoid, cam adjuster solenoid, fuel pump.
Good.
That should release tension on the harness here, so that we can swing out the vacuum generator. Remove the bracket that holds the water line. And remove the clip that holds the harness.
What did you use to do this?
Door panel poppers.
Gotcha.
And then we can fish this out of here. And then fish the harness. So that's out of the way.
Good. So you just took off the, what was that bracket?
Little bracket that holds the harness
Okay.
and attaches the water pipe to the
Okay.
end cover.
What do we
Alright.
do now?
Now we'll unplug the rest of the fuel pump. And if you haven't already bled off the pressure, I'll usually just bleed it off slowly like that. Should be fine. Now just undo the fuel pump itself. Just make sure you do it slow. There's not a lot of pressure. There shouldn't be, but just in case.
That's outbound fuel, right?
This is, yes, that is outbound fuel. I'll try to just make sure it's loose out of the way.
Okay.
Release the fuel pump itself. See what condition your cam follower is.
So you got a cam follower with this coming out has less than 1,000 miles on it.
With the high pressure fuel.
Right, with an APR pump. Let's see what she looks like.
Yeah, already starting to wear.
Wow. That's less than 1,000 miles. Hold it up to the light here a little bit. That's what we've got so far, less than 1,000 miles.
That's
A month ago
crazy.
we replaced it.
To take off the cam solenoid, just helps with clearance of getting the end cover off. Get rid of these screws. I've lost those before, it sucks. Should just pull right out. Now to just remove the end cover. So find all the
Good to point out that you're using a magnet to pull the screws out so you don't drop them into the motor.
well, not necessarily into the motor itself, but into the engine bay, and well, you'll never find them again sometimes.
Right.
Technically, you don't have to pull the fuel pump all the way off. You can do it right here in the car, but
We go to a clean area, right?
yeah, I mean, I guess for the shade tree guy, you can kind of do it there, but I usually take it to my desk. A couple of these screws you got to do blindly. That back one's the hardest one. Yeah, try to edit my wrist out of the car, and I'll have to get it. The transmission was still really hot. This back bolt's the fun one because it's so
Shorty.
yeah, a short extension, or depends on what tools you have, but that's what I have to do. And now the end cover should just wiggle off. Need to bend that up just a little bit out of the way. And there's your end cover. Okay. Now this little clamp is always fun.
Can you turn it around so we can see the clamp?
Not really.
Okay.
It's maybe you can get it from there.
Yeah.
There you go. Just
There
put
we
the
go.
clamp down a little bit.
Okay.
Grab my nice little hose clamp pliers here. pump.
There we go.
And your O-ring on the pump is bad.
The cam follower that we pulled today that has less than 1,000 miles on it. Kind of interesting to see that there's a good amount of wear on it already. We'll be using the existing cam with this kit. We don't have to swap out the intake cam, and so we'll be using the same cam with it. So we'll see how that goes. There's a little video of the existing cam. The car has 58,000 miles on it, and the cam still seems to be in pretty good shape. So hopefully no worries. A little bit of cleanup with the brake fluid cleaner.
Because your gasket was leaking a little bit, so I'm just trying to clean up around, especially where the seal goes. Yeah.
Mention it.
Yeah, I just mentioned it. I mean, I just kind of like to spray it off lightly, just to make sure it's nice and clean.
Using brake cleaner, right?
Yeah, I just use brake cleaner. Okay. And it should just pull right out. Ooh. That's not too good. Your seal. I wouldn't, turn it off.
So here's the plunger and the springs.
Yeah. Once you get the plunger out, obviously the spring just slides right off.
Plunger out, how did you get it out?
You just grab it and there's a lot of tension on it. You just want to pull it straight out.
Pull it straight out. Okay.
Yeah. If you have a stock pump or an APR pump.
And this is an APR pump. So.
If you have the Autotech internals, you physically have to take off you can't pull the plunger straight out. You have to, I believe it's a 17 millimeter deep socket to take off the whole basically guide or housing for the plunger.
Okay.
And then it comes out from the back.
Right.
One way. So we're basically just
going
going
to go on either way on this one.
Yeah, that's what it appears. It doesn't. Yeah, it fits the same either way.
Okay.
And then just make sure that the shaft is nice and clean. I sprayed it off with brake cleaner, and it'll slide back in.
That's it.
That's all you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty simple. So APR spring, factory spring.
Yeah, a little difference.
Yeah. A lot more tension on the APR one as well.
We're putting
your
a new seal on.
That's it.
That's it.
Fits right around. Put a new one on. The seal's already on here with the little two locating tabs.
What do you call it, cover?
End cover,
End
cam
cover.
chain cover.
Okay.
Yeah, I call it an end cover, but
Alrighty. A little difficulty getting it lined up, right?
seems like it. I've never actually put a brand new cover on, which is it's pretty nice that these come brand new. Yeah, see these rings? They're not compressed.
Oh, so they're slipping off as you push them in?
No, they're not slipping off. They're staying. They're not staying centered.
Okay. Okay.
They should compress, obviously, because it's conical shaped right here, so it should compress them. But just that last one is kind of catching. Put a little bit of oil on them to lube them up a little bit.
Alright, not bad.
Yeah, let's try it again. also make sure.
So there's a dowel right here at the bottom that is still in there. It's keeping it from going back.
That's what it was.
Brilliant.
Yep. There it is.
So, okay, so you pulled it out.
Yeah. Right ahead. Okay. There. Perfect.
That sounds better.
Yeah. Start off. I'm just gonna snug them all up, and then I'll go torque. Alright, should torque these back to factory setting.
It's factory setting for this.
It's 10 Newton meters. Lube on it for the new O-ring.
Okay.
And snap in. So lined up, and then grab the roller. Obviously, mark the little tab. So it'll only fit in one way. And obviously, put the roller towards the cam.
Okay.
Some people say that the pump.
Now the pump goes on.
Hook your soft line back up. Those of you with early cars,
So right now you're putting soft line back up, and
those of you with the early FSIs don't have a soft line. They have like a hard line to a banjo.
that'd be like a 2006 or something.
Yeah, 06 and early 07. Those ones are
In this
even
case, we
like-
have neoprene hose and a clip.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a little rubber hose.
There it
I
is.
don't have my hose clamp pliers, but these work just as good. You can seat the clamp back.
Just a little bit of lubricant around the end seal of the pump.
Well, here,
Put it
I'm
in.
at the shop right now. Stop at the shop, I'll look at it. Around the seal. Wow, that spring's tight. I'm gonna kind of compress it just a little bit.
So the two holes that go into the cam follower, those two lobes, line up. There's nothing to line up; they just fit right in.
Yeah, well, there's a little notch on the cam, or a little tab on the cam follower.
But on the underside, there's two holes, right?
Right. I think those are just for oiled
Okay,
passage
those- all right.
through, or yeah, nothing that those line up with.
Okay. So you're holding this on a little bit.
Yeah, just because of the tension, that spring is pretty tight. Just to make it so you can get the thread started at least.
Alright.
Same, just 10 Newton meters.
10 Newton meters for the pump.
Yeah. Okay. Need to bend this hard line out a little bit because obviously it's spaced out more. So I'm going to bend it around so it kind of lines up. Get the thread started. And snug it up. Just use your judgment. You know, you don't want to go super tight because you'll strip it out, but Just make it nice and tight. Now we'll bend the metal pipe back down and put the cam adjuster solenoid back in. There's still a little bit of oil on the O-ring, so it'll snap in good. Now these screws are real small, just be careful. This is where you like to get lost.
That's where the magnet comes in handy.
Yeah. Or you have room. Just be delicate. Get that one kind of started with the magnet. Bracket back in. Your triple square bit. I usually get the one on the head started first. And then, since you bend it out of the way, it never goes back exact, so it's a little tension on it, but it's alright. Back up the wiring for the pump and the cam solenoid. Click the conduit back in, back there. There. Plug in the solenoid. Should still have enough room to plug in your pump. Stretches it a little bit, but it's fine. Okay. Make sure that your seal is still there and clean. Make sure your mating surface here is nice and clean. And then obviously these two tabs have to line up in the cam. So, and nothing moved, so it should still be pretty close. And we'll just snap it. Okay. Take one bolt here. One here.
I think that top one's in.
Oh, yeah? Oh, no. Okay. I'll get it with the wrench.
Not that we want
I usually get the top two started, because the bottom one, you have to get this bracket up in there first, then put the bolt in because the head of it's so weird. It's not the easiest to...
So that bracket is part of the
Yeah,
system.
the bracket, yeah, it's held on by the same bolt. So you gotta get it up in about where it's supposed to be, and then the bolt in.
Gotcha.
And then you can tighten it.
I see what you mean. I see it down there.
I just plug back in the quantum sensor.
So you took it down to 10 meters?
Yeah.
So
Actually, I have it set just slightly higher than 10 just because I have such a long extension on it. You don't lose that much. Alright, now I'm just going to reroute what you had already. I mean, not everyone's going to have these, you know, this vacuum line where it is and stuff like that. But your... Oh, crap. Alright, go and pause it.
what happened?
The rubber piece that's in that, where'd it go? Did it fall out? There's a rubber back in the Schrader valve. There's a 13. Give it a nice little snug. Make sure the cap's tight. And just
Put that back in.
put it back on there.
Slide that on there. Like you said, not everybody's going to have the same connector?
Yeah.
This is stock, right?
This is stock. I'm just talking about this vacuum
okay.
line because this is for
Gotcha.
your boost gauge. So
Gotcha.
not everyone's gonna have that.
Got it. You can
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm just going to say
Yeah, not everyone's gonna have that.
the Terrell Sport master cylinder brake stiffener. Or bracket, I should say.
Piece of badass engineering.
Kudos to Terrell Sport.
Yeah, right.
We're making a badass piece you can't see. It is
Push
pretty
this. Push it back underneath the wires. Around your hoses and your master cylinder. Actually, just sit back into this. So.
So battery intake and fire it up.
Yep.
And then we're done. We're not going to show the rest of the installation because it's just putting back stock parts. We've got all of the
It's
kit
just
parts back in.
installation is reversal of removal.
The next part will be the car running and purring perfectly. Fingers crossed. Okay, here we go. We're starting it up for the first time.
Video out here at the same time as in it too?
Yeah,
No, with
that's
my
good.
video.
Yeah, do a video with yours too.
Do simultaneous.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Here it goes. Start up.